Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess, and what did I title this video? Does an author owe you a refund if the book's not good? Now this video is mostly about a specific situation I've seen unfold on booktok, and I've also seen the conversation on Threads, so I'm not sure if the YouTube is aware, but also I'll have another point to add in. Now this is about a young debut author, Audra Winter. Is it Winters or Audra Winter? Who got big on TikTok, has over 100,000, I think maybe 150,000 followers on TikTok, and has been talking about, did an excellent job at marketing her debut novel called The Age of Scorpius. So she's built this whole world. I guess the magic system is built off of or inspired by, or both, the zodiac sign, the zodiac system.
The Age of Scorpius and its premise became a TikTok sensation in 2021 with over 3.5 million likes and 8 million views. This highly anticipated YA fantasy debut by Audra Winter is filled with magical mysteries, found family, forbidden powers, and strong, rebellious women. The Age of Scorpius is a unique blend of sword and sorcery, dystopian, mystery, and romantasy genres, featuring a sapphic protagonist and diverse cast of characters. Welcome to Guardian, a world where one zodiac sign determines their magic, fate, and social status. 18-year-old Rika Spring has been determined all her life to piece together Guardian's fragmented historical record and reverse her sign's emotionless code of honor. When she finally locates an ancient archive containing classified knowledge of Guardian's history, Rika discovers a scroll that reveals the existence of a mythological weapon and uncovers the truth behind the Scorpio code. It's nothing more than a manipulation tactic to keep Scorpio in power. Violating the code's holy orders is punishable by death, and Rika's broken the first never show emotion. Unless she wants to be murdered for displaying her anger against the law's will, she must find and prove that a mythological weapon is more than a story before she's killed by the hauntingly familiar assassin sent to stop her.
And the first book came out, I think, end of June. Now, people have been talking about her marketing. I had never heard of this book before now because I'm hearing about the complaints. So I didn't hear about this, but I'm not that deep into booktok. But people were talking about how good her marketing was because as an independent author, her debut book, she sold, I forgot officially how many, I want to say 5,000 because when I was watching one of her videos, she said that they shipped out 5,000 books. And so she did that with pre-orders alone. No one had read this book because there were no arcs. Now she said she hired editors and artists because I guess the book has a lot of art in it. But there were no advanced reader copies, but I do believe if I go through my screenshots that she did maybe have beta readers.
There's a lot because she's very active on her TikTok, so I'm going to try to fit these things in where they fit or where they fit best. I don't know if I mentioned it in my video, but she had an opportunity, I guess, before to publish traditionally, or at least she had an agent. And so the next couple screenshots are her talking about that and that, she had beta readers and kind of the process of getting to this point because she talks about the process a lot. That's mainly what she talks about. Less about what the book is about. That's not the point here. Up to this point, I wrote multiple books. I had beta readers. I was in critique groups. I have completed a creative writing minor. I have attended conferences. I have written every single day since I was 12. I had been contracted by a literary agent and worked with developmental editors there. I made the choice to go independent when my literary agency dropped all their sci-fi fantasy writers. I could have found a new agent, but then I was ready to share my story. I hired 2 skilled industry editors, both developmental and copy. I listened. I spent hours revising and changing. I wrote pages upon pages of changes from editorial notes. I got on a call with my editor. I discussed them. I changed more. I looked at and incorporated my copy editor's suggestions. I paid 2 proofreaders. I proofread. I had a team that loved it, that understood. I marketed that I wanted to break away from the industry I felt trapped under. I wrote different. I wrote to tell a story. I wrote as an art, and I tried my very best to convey to readers that I knew my writing was different.
Another part of this, remember I said young. they're 22. She is 22 years old, and she said that she has been working on this story for 10 years. That she started building this world when she was 12. Now, while I commend her, I think 10 years of writing when you're starting at 12 versus 10 years of writing when you're starting at 22 or an older age and have been writing for 10 years is way different. And so she did a great job of marketing by, telling, I guess, showing her process of writing, of world building, of art, and all of these things. She also has a Patreon. And a lot of people went off of the summary of the book and they liked her, I guess, personality, her marketing, and pre-ordered. And I think a lot of people did it through TikTok Shop, and she would send out a bookmark, I believe, and then you were waiting to get the book. So apparently, if you were doing that through TikTok Shop, once the book came out, it's past the window where you could leave any kind of negative feedback. So I guess people were just leaving reviews in good faith on the TikTok Shop when they pre-ordered the book. Now the book has come out and people are reading it and they're like, this is not what I thought I was getting. They think that this book has been worked on for 10 years. She's saying it's gonna, there's all this world building, these great characters, that she's had editors and all of these things. I feel like the only positive, the positive consensus I've seen is that the art is really great, but I've heard that it's repetitive, it's just very juvenile. It is supposed to be a young adult book, but it's very juvenile. The writing sounds like it is someone who wrote it is very young, and there's lots of mistakes and grammar and typos and things, issues in the book. So of course people, since this got big on TikTok, are now taking to TikTok being mad because it was, they paid $30 for it. I think there was a regular version and maybe like an exclusive hardcover version. I would have to look up the prices. But the people are now saying they feel scammed, or like they feel like they should get a refund. But of course, if you bought it through TikTok Shop, it's too late to do that. And the author has been going through a lot because of course people are in her comments and people are making videos. Now I don't know if I said the book is called The Age of Scorpius. Again, I had not heard of this book. I don't have interest in it. It's young adult fantasy is not really my bag anymore.
I genuinely did everything I could to put out the best product I could. I poured my heart into this book. Reflecting back on it now, I recognize there are changes and improvements to be made. I heard the voices of my readers, and I realized after publishing that it can go through stronger editing. I'm so excited to improve it and do more with the story, but at the same time of pushing it out, I truly felt like I put my best out to the world. There was no part of me that was trying to scam, sell a bad book, or felt I could have done more. Though I see now the improvements to be made, I would not have published a book I did not think was ready.
I still don't think if the author marketed this book, you paid money for what you thought it was based on their marketing and based on the summary, you received the book, you read it, you didn't like it. I do not think that qualifies you for a refund. You know how many refunded books I would get if I didn't like all the books I bought based on somebody else's review or me reading the synopsis or the marketing put out by publishers? Because publishers do that all the time. Publishers can be very misleading in their marketing, or they market it as something and then I read it and it's something else and I still do enjoy it, but that's a risk. Marketing and a book is not always one-to-one. Sometimes they may take one little element and really embellish on that, but that does not entitle you to a refund. There wasn't a scam. A scam would be she sold all those books and you never received a product and you just got the bookmark and now you're out $30. That would be a scam. But you had good faith in this newbie author, in this young person who again said that they've been writing this since they were 12. And like I said, writing for 10 years from the age of 12 is very different than if you were older and started writing. And you bought that book, so that's on you. Happens all the time. I go to Barnes & Noble, I read the back of a book, I like a cover. Somebody else has liked a book is popular, I read it, and I'm not entitled to a refund because I didn't like it. That's not how this works. So I think that is wild. So after all of this backlash, the author has come on to TikTok and said a lot of things, which people are not happy about. And so she said that she's taken down the ebook version of it, and so she has all these different like incentives for the next version of the book. Like if you bought a version, you can put in a code and you'll be able to get a free ebook. If you want another hardcover, you get 50% off, because she said that she's going back through and revising the entire book and adding more art, even though people are like, that's not what we asked for.
I got on a call with my team for close to 5 hours brainstorming ways to make this right. We decided on our core team devoting all our time to revising and strengthening. We decided to do a search from my page for a copy editor and proofer because we have so many experts in our community and I want to listen to my readers. We decided to release new revised chapters on Patreon for free to regain trust from our audience and show them what we've got. I decided to take the risk and offer a $15 hardcover for second buyers and give everyone a free digital copy of the revised version. This is a net loss for me. We put up a pre-order for the second version because we are our own distributor as an independent team of creatives, and discontinuing print on demand because I don't really want to support Amazon. I want to make it the best I can while still being able to financially support myself, or support my team and myself.
Adding more art in the book is going to cost more money. And she set herself a very short timeline of having it ready to go out in December. So that means you're going to have that finished beforehand. I don't know how early you have to send things to printers to be able to send out a mass amount of books, assuming people are going to buy them again by December. But that seems like a very short turnaround. You worked on a book for 10 years. Now you want to do all these revisions and you're going to do it in 3 or 4 months? It seems like it's setting yourself up. And then adding more art. So I read through a lot of comments, and I never agree with like bullying and harassing, because, you know, people always take it too far. But a lot of the comments, I do think some people have good recommendations, like taking a break, taking a hiatus. This is the first book in a series, and if you're super passionate about this, maybe just take a break if you're wanting to revise this, but like not immediately. Or maybe you just put that into the next book, that energy. Some other people, because in one of her videos she said that she would be holding auditions essentially for like editors from her audience, and people are like, you need an unbiased line editor, not someone from your audience. That doesn't seem like a good thing, because some in various videos people have commented, you know, and asking questions, because she says that the book is a young adult, a mix between like high fantasy and dystopian. And one comment she responded to, she said something like one of her editors worked on the Hunger Games, which I'm like, that's huge. And she does go on and on about having this team. So some people are like, well, if you're so focused on the art, why not make it a graphic novel? It seems, you know, since the writing seems to not be the strong point, the art is really great, why not make it a graphic novel? But she also said she's not interacting with comments anymore, and she's going to focus on this rewrite. Now, I think a few things. I'm not a writer. I know writing is hard, but I don't know what y'all expected from somebody who was writing something since they were 12 years old. I mean, what did you think? Also, it's worrisome, I think, how she describes how emotionally tied she is to the story. Not like people are not normally close to a story that they write close to the characters. But she says, like, this has been my thing I have clung to when I have not wanted to be alive. This has been my lifeline. This is everything. This is my entire life. This is all. Everything revolves around this. This is all I want. This is all I want to do. This is the only world I'm going to write in. Because there was a, I think, screenshot. I can put it in here. But I'm like, if she's like, and so after hearing all these comments, I haven't been able to eat, haven't been able to sleep, but I'm back to it. I'm focused. I'm like, I think that's an unhealthy level there, to be so attached to something that you are putting out for public consumption, therefore, and that comes with public critique and criticism. And so for something like that to be tied so closely to your mental health and your well-being, I feel like is very dangerous. And obviously she's very young, 22, that's very young. And this is impressive. What she's done has been very impressive. And obviously she still has a lot to learn, a lot of craft to like grow and practice. And so I do think people are being unfairly harsh. I think it's ridiculous to ask for a refund, but I also do think that she needs a break. She needs to like take a break from it. And I understand that she has people that she, you know, contracted to do artwork and things, but it's very odd that she keeps phrasing it like my employees, my team, these people. And yes, they're artists and stuff you're working with, but it's, I I don't know their W-2 situation. You know, I would just assume they're contracted for a project and can go do other things, like this wouldn't be make or break, but I don't know.
For those of you who keep theorizing as to how I started a whole creative studio, no, I am not an industry plant, and no, I am not a grifter. I took the money I made from pre-sales and put it back into what I love the most. A 6-figure business means 6 figures of revenue are going into it. I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars I'm holding on to. I have a team of international employees and contractors I'm paying, books I'm ordering, shipping supplies, and an office space. All I care about is to be able to keep doing this. This is from a Q&A she posted recently on TikTok. I've never heard of an author having employees and contractors. Where'd you get all of the money for that? I'd never heard of it before either. My approach is, as far as I know, atypical in this industry. When I first hired artists for the book, I used a combination of my personal savings from my job and a scholarship from my university. After that, pre-order sales took off, and I decided to reinvest all that revenue back into the project. That means 2 things. We are our own distributor. I order the books in bulk from a printer in Canada, and once I receive them, we pack and ship them ourselves. While this is an immense amount of labor, it does let us keep a much larger portion of the profit than we would if we went exclusively through a print-on-demand service such as KDP, Ingram Sparks, or B&N Press. That profit gets put back into the project by hiring on the creative team. AOS, or I guess the Age of Scorpius, has an art creative team working on it that's much larger than most book series get. I believe in the power of creative people coming together to build what we love, and we aim to make our company a manifestation of that. When you buy a book from us, the money goes to us and our eco-friendly printer. That's it. No big cut to a large company like Amazon, which I think is admirable. I'm obviously not an author, so I don't know how realistic, sustainable, economically viable that is.
But again, writing is very personal. I know that any author who sees a negative video or negative comment about themselves, that's why you don't tag authors in negative reviews. That is really harmful. Something you've worked on, especially if you've been working on it for so long. But again, 22 is a baby. That is so young. This is me not trying to infantilize her, but 22 is very young. And even if you've been writing for 10 years, you were a child for most of that. So it makes sense if the story feels juvenile, if it doesn't feel completely polished. Even if you have editors, like, we don't know the relationship with the editors. Since this is not a publishing house, you have the choice to do what you want. They may have suggested edits and maybe you didn't go with them. So I just think it's very not dangerous, but it's worrisome how mentally tied to this she is. And I would worry that, like, if you went through all these things, pushed yourself, got this book republished by December, sent it out again, because she would be losing money, and it still doesn't do as well as you would like, or people still have negative criticisms, because there always will be criticisms of something. Like, everyone's not going to universally love everything. Like, what would that do to her mental health? That's very scary. Let's say the thing that has been, like, your will to live, or reason you have continued to live, be the thing that you were putting out. And I once she did all of the pre-orders, because she said she made like 6 figures from this, and then you like went to attorneys to make an LLC. It was like, I want this to be my business. I want to be an entrepreneur. And I don't know if she's Canadian or she American. I would just blame the Western world and its obsession with everybody should be an entrepreneur, everybody be your own boss. And there's nothing wrong with that, but like, I just feel like there's an unhealthy balance right now with like this need to have this successful entrepreneurial business author, because she said, I don't want to do anything else. I only want to write in this world. I only want to do this. This is my entire life. Just hearing how, I don't want to say passionate, like passion's a bad thing. It just sounds like, oof, that could be a bit dangerous. But again, I go back to, I don't know what people thought they were getting. If you look at the majority of things on TikTok, and this makes me think of a video by Rebecca Weatherspoon, where they were talking about the booktokification of publishing, and saying that, like, yes, publishing watches what's popular. Publishing watches what you are spending money on, whether you love the book or you hated the book. You're ranting about a book, but you bought the book, like they're happy that you sold the book and it's getting more attention. So it's like, we're in this cycle where these books get popular on TikTok, even though they're not great, but everybody's talking about them, whether they're positive or negative. So publishing sees that and is like, yes, we want more of that. In come more people writing the same mess, and this vicious cycle of people be like, oh look, another terrible book talk book, and I am guilty in that, because I love a little rant review or two, and I'm just like, what are we doing at this point? I know publishing is a business, but I don't know. I've expressed this many times before that my battery's gonna die, but that I just worry about publishing with the rise of generative AI and how quickly they just want to pump things out because people want very easy to read, easily digestible things that they can read quickly and add to their number, that they can pull out a line and make a viral TikTok about. Where is publishing going?
And whoopsie, my battery died. So I have more screenshots from Audra Winter's TikTok. I'm recording this on August 25th, but she, like I said, is active and keeps posting things, and apparently now is doing like weekly Q&As with questions. So I don't think she's responding directly to the comments, but she's like posting common questions that she's seeing and answering them. And then I think she's also already releasing the chapters on Patreon. So I'm going to read a couple of the Q&A or the questions that have been asked and her answers, and then I'll wrap it up. Okay. Ooh, apparently there's a limited edition paperback pre-order. So someone asked what's going on with that. The only change to the limited edition paperback pre-order will be its release date pushed back to spring 2026, aiming for March, April. So its content is updated to the second revised, expanded edition. All other features in the listing, cover, interior art, sprayed edges remain the same. We have totally discontinued the first edition of Age of Scorpius so we can deliver the best story possible to our readers. If you are one of the 2,000 folks who have already pre-ordered the limited edition paperback, reach out to us via a message to our TikTok shop if you'd like to update your address or cancel the order due to the delay into spring 2026. Okay, so she's giving herself more time, but damn, already 2,000 people pre-ordering it? Why'd you raise the price of the second revised expanded edition hardcover? The revised edition will cost more to print as it will have a higher page count due to extra content. I'm also welcoming an experienced copy editor and proofreader into our team, and I want to compensate them fairly. However, I have listened the frustration around this decision, and I realize I need to focus on reestablishing reader trust. To that end, I'm lowering the price of the second edition hardcover to $24.99, previously $29.99 for new buyers. Buyers of the first edition are still eligible to pre-order the second edition at $15 with an optional free digital copy of the revised second edition. Check the link tree in my bio to access these discounts. If you are one of the 25 people who have already purchased a revised hardcover here on TikTok, send us a message to the TikTok shop and we can help you out. Look, people still want to buy it. Very important question. Have you hired an editor? I found an editor outside of the fan base / booktok, amen, who has no involvement with and no knowledge of the world of Guardian before release. I'll be working closely with her one-on-one for developmental, copy, and line editing. If you have any questions for her and how she intends to approach the project, she'll be doing a Q&A. Please leave your questions in the comments below for our new editor, Caitlin, to answer next week. Can you explain what went wrong with the first edition of Age of Scorpius? I've spent a lot of time reflecting on this question in the past 2 weeks. My developmental editor said the plot was ready, but recommended a strong copy edit before publication. Even though I hired a copy editor and proofers, the final phase of implementing their suggestions overlapped with the deluge of thousands of unexpected book pre-orders. I was suddenly in a frenzy with establishing a business, setting up payroll, packing and shipping thousands of bubble mailers, and adapting to the shock of my entire life being turned upside down in a matter of weeks. In retrospect, I was exhausted and overwhelmed, but I felt immense pressure to deliver to all my new readers. I thought I was putting my best effort into finalizing the copy edits and proofing, but I failed to recognize the external factors impacting my overall health and mindset. Unfortunately, I genuinely had no clue that this was a problem until the books were in people's hands. I really do not want this to happen again, and that's why I'm extended the timeline into next spring, so I have time to do this revision properly. Okay, final thoughts. I think that overall, especially on TikTok, that people are doing the most. I understand being excited about something, getting it, and it's not what you expected, but I think the word scam is a bit much, and you need to look within yourself to ask yourself why you thought a 22-year-old who's been writing the same book since they were 12 and who was doing it independently was going to deliver you the best read of your life. Like, I really think you need to sit with yourself and ask yourself those questions. Now, I know that people may not be a fan of her and don't think what she's doing is right or wise in like the instant re-editing, the initially looking for an editor from the community, the continuous posting about the process and your content, your team and the art on a TikTok instead of telling people about the book and like accepting criticism. And I think that's all fair. And I do think she's accepted criticism and is obviously making changes and like got an editor and all of these things. Do I think that the next version of the book is going to be that much better? You know, I don't know, but I'm not reading it, so that's not my business. I don't care. But I think it's a bit much to call it a scam. It's a young person who obviously is very attached to this project, who has a lot of dedication to it, and that's commendable. Obviously they still need to work on their craft a lot because, like I said, many times they're young, but you as the audience, like, let's pause, okay? If an 18-year-old, which is only 4 years younger than 22, was like, hey, I've been working on this book for 5 years. That means they started the book at 13. You would be like, oh yeah, this is about to be a masterpiece. Like, I fear the lack of critical thinking is really ending us all. And I think it ties into a larger conversation about this. You can call it the fast fashion, the booktokification of publishing. Like, there is something to be said about it. And I may not have all of the right words, and a lot of people discussing it often. It's really easy to slip into, you know, just some really negative or like harmful stereotypes and stuff. And like, there's nothing wrong with reading romance. There's nothing wrong with reading dark romance or books that are like popcorn reads. But the general direction that publishing is going into, especially what they see people, they see people that will tolerate the bare minimum in stories. And obviously Audra Winter was doing this independently, but I'm just saying, like, why do you think, if you're willing to pay for a traditionally published book that barely got edited, that was just, you know, some hot garbage on a page, but maybe you thought the smell was really good or you had fun reading it and you could turn your brain off, then why would you? Well, I don't know why you're surprised. People pay for hot garbage all the time. So that's my hot take, apparently, because everybody's like, this is a scam and she got away with this because she's a young white girl. Well, duh. Young white people are always going to be more successful. That's because we exist in this world, especially here in North America, because I do believe that she's Canadian. So that's not a surprise. But I mean, then you should really consider a lot of traditional publishing scams, because some of these books that they're putting out is really not worth a damn dollar. And that's my opinion. I would love to know yours. And now, I have not been able to watch every single video because there's a lot. Everybody and their mama is making a video about Audra Winter. And again, I'm not trying to cape for her. I'm not trying to be her bodyguard. But I feel like a lot of people are using this as attention. Like, some people are like reading the book and trying to live edit it. Like, please. Now y'all are doing the goddamn most. If you're not trying, some people are trying to disguise it as, I'm trying to be helpful. No, you're not. You're not trying to be helpful. You're just trying to dunk on somebody else while they're down. That's what you're doing. So that's my thoughts. You know, shout out to Audra Winter. She's trying to live her dream. And I hope that the people that are working with her, for her, are being paid fairly. And I wish her luck. And I will continue to, I don't know, seek out books that aren't popular on BookTok, because what a world. That's it. That's all I got. Let me know your thoughts if you have been watching this play out on TikTok, because there's so many videos. I have not watched them all. I've watched a lot of Audra's videos, but not even all of them. There's so much. Okay? And I've been trying to take down my screen time, so I'm not going to use all of my TikTok time to be looking at these videos. But y'all are doing the most. All right, thanks for watching. Stay blessed, hydrated, moisturized, and sunscreen. Bye.